Week 8 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I'd to go out there and buy this week. The first guy, Noah Syndergaard of the Los Angeles Angels. So Syndergaard here, after the last few seasons, he was out with Tommy John and leaving the New York Mets for the Angels in the offseason. He got off to a good start the first few weeks of the year, but I knew it wouldn't continue at the levels that it was going under an ERA under 2. So on the season, 40 and a third. 4-3 record, 40 hits, 18 earned runs, 9 walks, 27 strikeouts, 3 quality starts, a 4.02 ERA, and a 1.21 whip. So right here, not the horrible of numbers for Syndergaard, but the last couple games haven't been great for him. And the thing that's really not great as well here, his strikeouts are way down for innings pitched. He used to almost get a strikeout an inning with Noah Syndergaard, but pitching to a lot of contact this season. And obviously some games it's worked. In the last few games, it really hasn't here for Syndergaard. May 16th at Texas, 2/3, got the loss in that one. 4 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, a K in that game. May 24th, a great bounce back versus the Rangers. 8 innings, got the win. 4 hits, a run, 5 Ks, quality start. And then May 31st at the Yankees, he got racked in that one too, 2 1/3. Got the loss, 7 hits, 5 runs, and a walk in that one. So Syndergaard here, the puzzling thing is the strikeouts, like I mentioned. And maybe he's fatiguing out a little bit as well, even though he only has 40 innings under his belt. But the prior 2 years, he's only had 2 or 3 innings coming into this season here. And I know it's a new ball club with Los Angeles. Right now, he's hitting the wall a little bit here, Syndergaard, but I think he could get back on track. And he still has huge upside. This guy's only 27, 28 years old still. And this Angel team, they got a pretty good team this year, especially offensively. They got players that definitely could back this pitching staff, obviously with Ohtani, Mike Trout, and Taylor Ward having a breakout year. So right now, Syndergaard, while he's on the decline the last 2 out of 3 starts, I think you could go out there and get him pretty much for nothing in a deal. And with his upside and a guy who's still trying to find his way after Tommy John, he definitely could turn things around and help your fantasy team as a 4th or 5th starter on your roster. The next guy I look to get is Jose Berrios of the Toronto Blue Jays. Even more puzzling here is Berrios as well than Syndergaard. Not because the ERA is up, because obviously it's going to be up going from the AL Central to the AL East, obviously, where you got a lot of good hitting teams like the Yankees. Tampa Bay is pretty good hitting. Even Baltimore has a couple guys that can put the ball over the fence. So right here, Berrios on the season, 49 and 2/3, 3-2 record, 61 hits, 31 earned runs, 14 walks, 36 strikeouts, 4 quality starts, and a whopping 5.62 ERA and a 1.51 whip. So right here, the strikeouts are way down for Berrios. Last season, he finished the year with 204 strikeouts and 192 innings. This season, he's not even close to getting a strikeout in an inning, only with 36 and 49 and 2/3. And like I mentioned, maybe a change of scenery isn't good. And maybe a tough division, but to be honest, the last few games here, he hasn't versed division rivals. May 17th, he did pitch good, but it was a weak Seattle hitting team. 7 innings, got the win. 6 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, a quality start. May 23rd at St. Louis, mediocre outing. 6 1/3, no decision. 7 hits, 3 runs, 7 Ks in the quality start. And then May 29th at the Angels, he got ripped up in that one. 2 1/3, 6 hits, 6 runs, a walk and a K. So right here, I know those other outings aren't that horrible, but he just hasn't been the same. The ERA is way up here for Berrios. The strikeouts are way down, and teams are putting the ball in play versus him. But right here, I think he's going to turn it around. He's too talented, and he's going to want to prove it to his former team in the Minnesota Twins here on June 4th for trading him and not wanting to give him an extension. So right here, Berrios, I think the turnaround could start now, and he's too talented of a pitcher not to have an ERA, at least 4 or under. So I think he turns it around here, and he's got a great offense, obviously, in Toronto backing him, where they could give him a lot of run support as well. The next guy, Brandon Woodruff of the Milwaukee Brewers. I mentioned Woodruff a few weeks ago where he was struggling and not doing much, and now he's on the injured list as well. So on the season, 43 and 2/3, 5-3 record, 41 hits, 23 earned runs, 13 walks, 53 Ks, 2 quality starts. So right here, his numbers are pretty much in par, except the ERA is a 4.6 4.74 and a 1.24 whip here for Woodruff. So Woodruff, everything else, the strikeouts are good, innings pretty decent coming in, and he's still 5-3. But now with the injury and him having shorter outings this season as well, he's definitely a guy that's going to be at his lowest right now. Because once he comes back and he's refreshed, it's not like it's an arm injury. This guy, he could have a monster second half of the season when he's back. Even though I think he'll be back mid-June, early July latest. So May 15th at Miami, 5 innings, got the win, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks in that one. May 21st versus Washington, 6 innings, got the win, 5 hits, a run, 6 Ks, quality start. And May 27th at St. Louis, 4 innings, got the loss, 2 hits, 2 runs in that one, a walk and 4 Ks. So right here, the only problem, he wasn't going deep into games. And early in the season, he was getting hit hard was Woodruff. That's why that ERA's ballooned to a 4.74. But right now, with him on the injury list, for only an ankle and his value lowest it's been in a couple of years, this is a perfect time to go out there and get him, because if he comes back and he's clicking on all cylinders, you're getting an ace for a cheaper price. So right now, go out there and buy him. The next guy is Lucas Giolito of the Chicago White Sox. So Giolito, he's been decent this season, but I think there's something off with him as well. On the season, 42 1/3, 3-2 record, 41 hits, 17 earned runs, 17 walks, but a great 59 strikeouts in the 42 1/3, 3 quality starts, a 3.61 ERA, which is still very good in the American League, and a 1.37 whip. But right here, Giolito, I just feel like he don't get the ball rolling and get 3 or 4 great starts in a row. It's one good one, one mediocre one, and then one where he gets bombed. May 18th at Kansas City, 5 innings in that one, no decision. 2 hits, 2 runs, 7 Ks. May 25th versus Boston, 6 innings, got the win. 5 hits, a run, 4 walks, 7 Ks. And then May 31st at the Blue Jays, 4 2/3, got the loss. 8 hits, he got hit hard in this one. 6 runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks. So right here, like I mentioned, it's not just consistency across the board like we're used to with Giolito. And now coming off that bad game versus Toronto, his value is definitely taking a hit, but he's still a good player, in my opinion, that could go out there and be a top 5 starter. And this year, coming into leagues, he was a second, third rounder in most fantasy leagues here. So Giolito, I think he's going to get things going. I think he's going to be dominant like he was. And he's just too good of a pitcher right now to be this inconsistent. But right now, he's missing bats, 59 strikeouts and 42 innings. He's amazing, and now he just has to keep the walks down. The last few games, the walks have been the problem for Giolito, but you can make a deal for him right now after he got bombed. They get a little bit of a discount, even though you still got to pay a decent price, but a good hitter for Giolito is a serviceable deal. So right here, go out there and get him. In the 5th and final pitcher I look to buy this week, Jose Urquidy of the Houston Astros. I've been mentioning him for weeks, Urquidy, and so far it's not been that good of a year. 45 innings, 4-2 record, 64 hits given up, 24 earned runs, 7 walks, 34 strikeouts, 2 quality starts, a 4.80 ERA, and a 1.58 whip. So right here, the problem with Urquidy, that whip is the problem. A lot of runners get on base against them, and that's obviously not going to be a recipe. That's going to be a recipe for disaster here for pitchers. So the last few games here for Urquidy, May 17th at Boston, 5 innings in that one. Got the win, but gave up 12 hits, 4 runs, and a K. May 22nd versus Texas, 6 2/3, got the win. 6 hits, a run, a walk, 10 Ks. And May 28th at Seattle, he got hit hard in that one, 4 2/3. Got the loss, 12 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. So right here, Urquidy, he's got a good outing June 3rd at Kansas City that we know is a pretty light-hitting team. But right now, the ERA is almost a 5. He's been inconsistent. The last 4 out of 5 starts, he's pretty much done nothing for fantasy owners. But he's too talented of a pitcher as well as Urquidy, where last season we saw what he could do. 8-3 record last year, and he had a good ERA as well with the 9 quality starts. So right now, if he's out there in your fantasy league as a guy to pick up, I would go out there and just do it, because he's available right now, 36% of fantasy leagues. And if you want to make a trade for him, pretty much a closer or a bench hitter you don't really use on your roster, you could go out there and buy Urquidy very cheap this week. So that's a few pitchers I look to buy for week 8 of the fantasy baseball season.